Hello, welcome back. Another episode of Bob. In this one, I might have finished the back axle-ish. Well, it's back on its wheels anyway. There's the spoiler. How about that? Sorry about the spoiler. No, it's really just a case of getting the axles all sorted out. I need to get on with the chassis, but before I can get on with the chassis, I need to get all the crap that's on the bench in front of the chassis out of the way, which is why I've been bogged down with building axles up. But anyway, all needs doing. So there you go. Enjoy the video, please. Subscribe if you like it. It does help the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down. Let me know why, if you dare. And yeah, if you need to contact me, churchhouseclassics@gmail.com. It's all one word, churchhouseclassics. Or comments down below. If you fancy supporting the channel for any given reason, or you fancy buying me a pint for one of my B&B sessions, then there's a PayPal me link down there somewhere. Thank you very much. Right, axle casing back on the bench. First job, just cleaning all of the crack off the gasket macing face. We don't want anything on there that's going to prevent the differential gasket from sealing properly. So using just a Stanley razor blade just to clean the surface back. It's all pretty good in here. Brushing the crap away from the inside. Don't want anything that's going to cause me any leak over and above the standard leaks you're going to get in a Land Rover axle. It shouldn't actually leak. I haven't replaced the nose, the pinion seal yet. That will happen once it's all back in place again. Righty-ho. So we have just cleaned this face up, cleaned the gearbox face up, gearbox differential face up, that's all we've done. Bit of blue Hydamar works wonders. Just will help with any of the minor imperfections that might exist on the surface. Put the gasket down, make sure it goes down nice and evenly over the top of the studs. That's good. Bit more blue Hydamar on this side, you can hear the red is picked up nicely. Right, that'll do that. Now comes the heavy bit. So, how do I do this? Just go that way round. Now, the problem with this is always going to be that I'm going to need to lower it in. I don't want to get my fingers caught. So, we'll lift it up, doing our He-Man impression. Oh, that is some bit to hit that. Right, it's down. Alright, it's been bolting all this thing together. I figured that actually, I am going to build this actually up on the bench, I think, because it's just more comfortable. But then I'll probably need to use the engine crane, or maybe my nephew who's staying down here at the moment, give me a hand lifting it off the bench. It'll work out. Sure it's going to work out. So I just put the spring plates on just so they're there and I know where they are. Discs should hopefully turning up tomorrow so I can build the hubs up. I can put on the trailing arms. They can go on. Right, we've got the discs and I'm going to rebuild these rear hubs. So carefully mark them up with near side and off side. The only reason for that is I'm going to reuse bearings if I find the bearings are in good shape. If they're not in good shape, then I won't reuse them. It's as simple as that. Right, let's get myself sorted out with a little bit of organisation. So these ones, I don't know which ones those ones are. These ones are near side. Excuse me. Near side bearings can go on that pile, offside bearings on this pile. And what I've basically got here. So I've got the spacer, so that one's the outside bearing, and that was the inside bearing. Now I think when I looked at these, I was fairly happy with the quality of the bearing seat. And I think that they're going to be okay. So they're going to go straight back in, and the near side bearings, I think I had to press a new one in because I wasn't happy with it. That wasn't the one that I took out though, so that's the one that's going to go back in, I think. British manufactured bearing. So I got that. I've got the lock washers. I've got the hub seals. Now, you've got different depths of seal or that goes into these things. You've got they're not even the right ones. That's the right one. I don't know what that's different to that one. So you need to measure the depth at the top of this hub. I think these are the deep ones, and I've got seals for those, but it's not this one. This is the RTC 3508, which I think is the shorter of the hub seals. I've got double lip seals somewhere. I'll go and dig those out. I've also got new discs. So we can put new discs on, which would be nice. New rear discs. Because the old discs were, they've been skimmed and they were below the minimum thickness. I'm not prepared to fuck around with things like brakes. So brand new discs. And it can all go back together again. Get the hubs mounted on the axle. And then once the hubs are on the axle, I can get the axle back on the floor again. Back axle on the floor. I was hoping to get the A-frame sorted out today, but a bit of a cock up on the main pivot, the A-frame pivot, which is this one here, which I had on the shelf. Someone very kindly donated to me. But it's the old style, which has the separate sheet that goes over the top, or the separate plate that goes over the top for the dust cap. So I don't have a dust cap for this one. It's not a problem, I'll be able to manufacture one, but not now. So that can go very neatly back into the box again. So that was a bit of a cock up, but never mind. Because there's no point in me assembling the A-frame until I've pushed that joint in. Now, when it comes to these discs, let's get ourselves sorted out and put the disc on. I'll show you a couple of tips and tricks that I use when I'm putting discs on these things. Okay. Rear discs are smaller than front discs. Range Rover Classic, probably the Disco one as well, and all the other bits and bobs. So, this, it will have some form of coating on it. Which I'm not bothered about for the time being. It's not particularly sticky. Obviously, before you put brake pads anywhere near this, you want to wash all this crap off. But I'm going to leave that crap on there. So I don't know how long it's going to be before this car's up and running. And because of that, I don't want the disc to rust. Now, the main thing that I want to do before I go berserk putting the disc on, this mating face down here, this area, that's where the disc actually sits. If this isn't perfectly flat, if this has got any contamination on it, then this will stop the disc from running true. So it is absolutely critical that you get this area tidied up. It needs to be absolutely spotless. Now I'm just using a razor blade at the moment. I can see there's a world of crap on there, so let me go and get the drill. I'm trying to drill. Deliberately not using the angle grinder on this because I don't want to be taking metal away. I only want to be taking light corrosion and other such shit off. Happy enough with that. That looks nice. Now, Mr. Disky McDisface goes on there. Before I do that, I'm just going to put WD-40. It just disperses, cleans, doesn't lubricate at all. Well, I suppose it lubricates briefly, but the disc then just drops down. Okay, that's then simply a case of putting the bolts back in. Now, thread lock, yes, probably do actually. So the torque setting for these, go back to the trusty Haynes manual. Saves me bringing my laptop out here, because all my other manuals are online, you see. Not online, they're electronic manuals rather than paper manuals. So when I see a tatty paper manual, I always grab it at an auto jumble because I don't mind putting dirty fingerprints on one of these things. Torque wrench settings, brake disc retaining bolts, 38 foot-pounds. So it's not a huge amount, is it? So yeah, we'll put some thread lock on those and then we'll torque them up. These have all got lock washers on them, but you know, belt and braces, a little bit of thread lock. Is this going to work? This I've had this for about 1,000 years. This fella. Might be that the container's a bit blunged up now. So what I do, there we are. That'll do nicely. You don't need gallons of this stuff. Literally just put a little bit on the thread. In fact, that's probably too much. So we'll just share that. Oh, nice big curry last night. Right, so 38 or 40 foot-pounds, we go for 40. That's what I like. So my little trusty torque wrench here. I normally leave it on completely off. So, yeah, it was off. So I take it down to the minimum torque when I leave it parked. That's 40 foot-pounds. What I always do with this thing is give it a little wake-up call. I do calibrate it from time to time. I compare it against one of the other torque wrenches I've got. Just clamp it into the vise. Get the oil flowing through. Back it right off. Good. Put it back to 40 foot-pounds, which is there. Good, beautiful. Right, now, how do I stop this disc from wibbling around when I am trying to torque the damn thing up? Right, that goes on there, that goes on there, that goes on there. We're already going to 40 pounds, so I'm not going to bother going absolutely berserk in it. You see where we're going, yeah? So having an upturned wheel will often work, yeah? So you put the disc down into a wheel. You've got more mass with the wheel, with the tyre on it and so forth, so you can actually torque it. The other way I do it is to brace it. Got the wheel studs. So there's the studs down there. Got wheel nuts on it. You should take the wheel nuts off. It's not going to help. Oh, there's my microphone just fallen off. Why's my microphone fallen down? Probably because I wobbled the desk. I just put these on, didn't I, after I was doing the cleaning of the threads. Oh, some phone noises, clicking. Right. Is that right? These probably come out as well. Could be a bit more fucking organised, couldn't I? Really could be more organised. I mean, the drive plates and the actual half shaft, the drive shaft that goes in here, I'll paint those all when they're fitted. I'm not going to bother painting before they're fitted because I can paint the heads of the bolts and everything. Don't need to worry about that. And also I need to get hold of a long drive shaft as well, because I think the old one is challenged. It's one of the few broken things I've actually found on the original car, aside from the hydrolocked engine. It's one of the very, very few things I've found. Now, if I was to put a jemmy like that while I'm trying to torque the bolts on the other side, would it work? I'm going to go that way around, sorry. Look at that. He's going to press that against my leg. There we go, one. Piece of piss, how about that? How easy was that? Right, next I need to, I'm going to have to push the seal, or in, no, sorry, seal, what are you talking about, Richard? I need to push the bearing seat in. So I've got the bearing here, wheel bearing, so he needs to go on the outside here. That's good. He can go in there. Right, so let me get on and do that. And I'll do the other hub, and I'll fit the bearings, and then this can go on the axle. How about that? How about that? Got this rear axle all assembled, so it's sitting on it's got the discs on the hubs. I've not adjusted the hubs yet. There's a whole load of loose bolts on it. Nothing is tightened up yet. Still needs to paint the diff, still needs to replace the diff nose, but it's back on its wheels again, which is good news. For the A-frame, I found an older A-frame bracket, which I was able to rob the plate from, the machine plate, which is just... Sorry, I'm holding the camera here. Oh, bastard. So I was able to press in that new joint, so that's gone in there now, and everything's been coated with a little bit of de-ruster before I slap some paint on it and get that lot assembled. So the next job really is front axle. Get the front axle off this chassis, and I'm going to tip the chassis on its side then and have a look and see what's going on the underside of it. Make a bit more room in here, so the front axle can go up on the bench in a minute. First of all though, I'm going to go and get a cup of coffee. Pulled the front axle casing apart. One thing that does amuse me is the quality of the welding on this shit. This is all Land Rover original kind of welding splatter here. Pretty impressive, eh? Well, it wouldn't be Land Rover, it's whoever made the axles for Land Rover. I've just given it a degrease. I'm going to lob it on the floor in a minute and tip some water over it, and then I'm going to put some rust treatment, because there is just very, very light surface rust on this axle casing. Again, it's in really, really good order. Give it a very light going over. Differential's out. Again, differential looks quite nice too. Could end up just going straight back in again. I'll check the mating using the engineer blue on that first of all, and then I've got all this stuff here to clean up. So I've got front hubs. I'm not sure if I'll bother with these. I'll just get another pair. They're fairly new-ish, but they can be had for not a lot of dollars. And yeah, get this axle, front axle, back together again, which is the main objective here, because I don't want to be pissing around with this for too long. And I can get onto the chassis then. Oh, there's the tray I was looking for. Get this chassis done. One thing I did notice, I might have said it already, is the rear bump stop mounts have disappeared. They would have been underneath there originally. There's a bird up there somewhere. I think that's new nest, that one, shouting at me. Get this chassis cleaned back and painted, and I can create a rolling chassis then. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But again, this thing looks really nice underneath. I keep saying that. I won't be welding near that, by the way. Right. Yes. Oh, my box of nuts and bolts arrived as well today, so I can put the diff on that properly. I haven't got the tripod out today because I just couldn't be arsed with it. Right, paint has dried out nicely. It's going to get a little very light rub down and probably a coating over the top. But it's quite a tough coating, this Rust-Oleum stuff. Because the diff mesh is absolutely bang on. You can see there the shape of the mesh on the coast side, and then we look at the thrust side. Similarly, let's get some light in the right direction. I've got an absolutely perfect mesh on that. So another diff I don't need to take apart. So I'm going to just install the diff straight back into the casing, build up the axle, and get all of the hubs and everything put onto it. So, excuse me, wandering around the barn. Here goes the swallow. They're nesting in here somewhere again. The rest of the parts I've kind of painted, just got them all ready together. Started painting the A-frame as well, which has come up quite nicely, isn't it? Look at that, very smart. And a couple of projects coming up. Look how shiny this steel is. Oh, that's not bad going, that is it really? A couple of projects coming up. I've got to put a carpet set into a classic Mini. This lot's come from Kingsman Covers, I think. Kingsman Covers? Kingsman Carpet. I'll put the link in below. But I'll do a separate video on carpeting up Howard's classic Mini. Oh, they come from this company here. Corelli.co.uk. Nicely bound around the edges though. I'll have to have a look at that. I bought my flying. Should come with a fixing kit which wasn't included. I shall cover that off. And the other project I've got to do is a Land Rover Freelander 2 TD4, which has just failed its MOT. Claire up the pub is desperate to have it fixed. And I said I could do it for her. So 3 of the 4 wheel bearings need changing. Both back dampers need changing. And it needs a mini service. But, yes, that's about that really. Right. Let's get on with this bloody thing, put it together. Camera went flat while I was doing that, so you probably didn't see much of it, but it wasn't much to watch. I've got the radius arms are back on, torqued up, 140 foot-pounds if I remember correctly. There's a couple of bits here that need painting, but what I'll do is I'll assemble all of the hubs and so forth on this thing and then go over it and give it a tidy up with the paintbrush once it's all together. Because when it's on the wheels, it's fairly easy to tip the whole thing upside down and so forth. So that's easy enough for me to do. So I've got the short driver's side hub is up there already assembled. I've already put the seal, sweep seal is in place, and all I really need to do is put the gasket on. I've got a nice big box of bolts here, which came from Wright's Engineering. These should be the correct grades. It's SAE grade 8.8. Should say on the top there. It's JDF, whatever that is. Anyway, they come in there. They're high tensile bolts, and I bought them really to go into here, which they do. Beautiful. How about that, eh? So I can fix the swivel balls on. And we can start moving this thing forwards, get this axle built up. That's the objective today. It's 3:30 at the moment, so I should be able to get this axle built up today. And then tomorrow, we're back onto you again. Right, no point watching me because all I'd end up doing is bloody time-lapsing it anyway, but I'll get this this whole drive shaft swivel assembly that I put together, that you've seen me build up already. I'll get that all put on. Axle number you can see through the paint, which is nice. Look at that. Very nice. Oops, dropped the camera there. I wasn't too meticulous when it came to painting. I just wanted to get the overall chunk of it painted. So when it comes to it all being fully assembled, because I knew I'd be knocking lumps of paint off here and there and everywhere, and I knew there'd be brush lines which I'd want to flat out. So that's why I'm not particularly bothered about it. The back axle looks a lot nicer now that I've given it a second coating of the Rust-Oleum paint. And I've got all the parts on the bench up the end there in swallow end for now, which is waiting for me to assemble onto this car right now. But doing these major components makes it a little easier, I guess, when it comes to getting the chassis rolling. Because once the chassis is done and painted, I just have to offer these completed axles straight up to it. The A-frame can go straight up to it. I've got springs. I'm not sure yet about the front springs, but the rear springs are a used old stock. I think there's a couple of new old stock in there, but they seem to be exactly the same spec as the used old stock ones I've got. They're a standard spec spring. I'm not decided yet whether I want to go uprated or not on this. So that's why I've not put any springs on it yet, because the uprated version is rear springs go onto the front. The standard rears go onto the front as uprated fronts, and then you get a different spring for the back as an uprated back. And it just makes it a little bit firmer and so forth. And as this thing's going to be a little bit tricked up, not a lot tricked up, I'm not going absolutely berserk with it, but I haven't got the original engine, haven't got the original gearbox to it. It'll have a long stick LT95 gearbox, as I've said already. That will fit straight in there. But I want to get the whole chassis built up with all its running gear before I start pissing around with the bulkhead and so forth. I mean, I can start welding on the bulkhead and the side frames, because what I'll do is I'll fit it onto the chassis first of all, work out what needs to go where, take it off to cut it, put it back on again to line things up, just use tag welds just to hold things in place, take the bulkhead off to seam weld it, because I really don't want to be damaging the paintwork on the chassis, because it will be completed. And I know it's a lot of putting on and taking off and stuff, but you know, sometimes you really don't want to be, you know, using grinder sparks and stuff right in the back end, the arse end of your workshop. But so by fitting the bulkhead up, working out what needs to happen to it, and then taking it off again, it's going to make life a little bit easier. And obviously the bulkhead will flex backwards and forwards. So all I'll do with that is fit the front wings, front inner wings. I've got some used old stock, very good front inner wings, which are going to go onto this project. So I'll fit those onto the front of the chassis. I will fit the bulkhead onto the front of the chassis, check alignments and verticals and so forth, because if this thing's flat on the floor, I should be able to check alignment, and then get the bulkhead finished and done. Moving forwards.